Hey, Raw Motivations here. Wanted to jump in and be able to talk to you for a quick moment about the concept of, can a narc rub off on an empath, or can a narcissist rub off on the abused, and can that person end up becoming a narcissist? You see, sometimes people wonder, like, hey, I've been with a narcissist and all of a sudden I notice, like, I have these traits, I have these thoughts, I have these feelings, I have these emotions that when I look at them on paper, they seem narcissistic. Like, they seem like I'm the problem. You see, a lot of times when you're in a toxic relationship and you're getting abused emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually, there has to be different checks and balances that you put in place to be able to set yourself apart from that and to be able to break free from that. And oftentimes people will pick up different types of traits or attributes that are really just coping mechanisms to get through the trauma that they're enduring. You might have had moments where you yelled at your partner, or where you responded in a way that you never thought you'd ever respond before. What you might be experiencing is reactive abuse, when someone pushes you to your limit and then past that to a place where you just snap and you want to respond, you want to yell back, you want to hit the person, whatever it might be, and that might be completely uncharacteristic of you. You might be experiencing what's called reactive abuse. You might be getting rubbed off in different ways, where maybe you're having to, give, you're going to have to give like the silent treatment, as far as like you have to, gray rock. You have to get to the place where you're like, hey, I'm not talking to you about this. Like, I can't do this. And you'll start thinking like, wait, like, is that stonewalling? Am I doing the silent treatment? Is all this kind of stuff? But that, in that particular way, you're not doing that to provoke a response. You're not doing that to manipulate the other person to follow your wishes or obey you. What you're doing is you're trying to limit the damage that's happening to you and the damage that's happening to the people around you. And oftentimes when people go grade rock, they try to get to the place where they're not responsive to the narcissist's antics and, yellings and everything like that, because they're trying to at least tone down or figure out how to calm the situation where the other person might get tired of it or might get frustrated and just, walk away and leave them alone. Sometimes this can be used in a way to be able to help protect. Now, I would say, as a side note, with gray rocking, please be very careful. A lot of times it's touted as like gray rocking is like the best thing ever. I think there's good and bad ways to do it, but I've also seen gray rocking that works for some people and that doesn't. And in my experience, I would say it's probably like 50%. Like 50% of people doing gray rocking, it works in that relationship in a positive way. The other 50%, it works in a negative way and it gets worse. Like the yellings get worse, and the rage, all this type of stuff gets even worse. So if you're doing gray rocking, or you're thinking about gray rocking to try to be able to help protect yourself, make sure that it's actually going to do the job and actually protect you. So back to the original question of, if I'm with a narcissist, can I become narcissistic too? Well, as I was talking before, you can pick up like different attributes or different traits as sometimes survival mechanisms, like a way to be able to get through the eggshells, the storm, the rage, and all that kind of stuff, and be able to focus on your health and your growth. You're not going to turn into a narcissist. There's not something of like, if I, rub shoulders with a narcissist for so long that I become a narcissist at the same time. It doesn't work that way. You see, because narcissism is built on the trauma and the vulnerability and the emotional intelligence that that person went through at a young age. And it's built through that young age and then continues on into adult life. And they get to a place where they're not able to communicate or respond or interact a certain way. And that's not because it changed throughout their life. It's because that initial trauma early on wasn't dealt with. And that could be abandonment, that could be shame, that could be guilt, that could be vulnerability, that could be a whole bunch of different things that happened. But the main point that I'm trying to say is like, hey, if you rub shoulders with a narcissist for years, doesn't mean you're a narcissist, and you're not going to become a narcissist. You might pick up traits, but remember, those are just traits. And typically those are ways to survive the moments that you're going through.